Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you the process for applying mesh tape on drywall. Now you can see I've actually cut the drywall, and this is the mesh tape that I will be using. I've already screwed the drywall in place to repair the patch, and what I'm doing now is I'm taking this mesh tape and I'm just going to be sticking it around the perimeter of the drywall cut. Now it has a sticky backing, so it's actually really easy to stick to the drywall, and I'm just using scissors to cut it. Now this mesh tape is green in color, and that's because it's mold-proof mesh tape. Now you can use regular mesh tape. I'm just using this because I had it left over from when I redid my bathroom, so I figured that I might as well use this instead of buying a new roll of regular mesh tape. But you can by all means use regular mesh tape if you are doing this in a bathroom or in an area that's going to be frequently water is going to be frequently running in the area, or steam or anything like that. Then I would recommend using the green mesh tape like this right here. So as you can see, I am just simply placing the mesh tape around the perimeter. You can see at the corners it actually overlaps, and you want it to overlap a little bit because that will strengthen it. But just keep in mind that where the mesh tape does overlap with the other pre-existing mesh tape that you'd put on the wall, you want to make sure that you put a little bit of extra mud on that area because it's going to be a little bit thicker, so you want to cover up the mesh tape. So as you can see, that was the putty knife that I'm using, and this is the drywall compound, the mud, aka the mud. And all I'm doing is literally taking the putty knife and I'm just applying it to the mesh tape, and I'm just smoothing it out. Now the key is that this is just the first coat of the mudding process, and you just want to apply a thin layer. You want to get over all of the mesh tape. You want to make sure that you get the mud in the cracks between the two pieces of drywall, or between the multiple pieces of drywall. And then you also want to make sure that you are filling the screw holes as well to cover up the screws. And just make sure that you are doing a thin layer, because if you do a thick layer, then you're going to have to sand it off after, and that's just creating more unnecessary work for you. So the key is to go thin, and this first coat is basically only to get the mud to just hold the mesh tape down. Then the second coat will be to start covering the mesh tape and so forth. This is mainly, the main purpose of this coat is just to hold the mesh tape in place. So as you can see, I'm literally just working my way across the mesh tape area. You want to make sure that the mesh tape stays as flat as possible against the wall. If it bubbles out, you're going to have to take care of that after by either cutting it or sanding it off, or there's a few different things that you can do. But the flatter that you can keep the mesh tape, the better off that you'll be in terms of the extra work after the first coat. But that's basically it. As you can see, the first coat is pretty much done. What I like to do once I've finished actually applying the mud onto the mesh tape is I just like to sort of go over it, and you can see I'm just touching everything up to make sure that I'm reducing the amount of sanding that I'm going to have to do after. The less sanding that you have to do, the less unnecessary work that you'll have to do after. The flatter, the thinner, the smoother that you can get this first coat, the easier that it will be. What I did just there was I actually used the scissors to cut off a little piece of string that was sort of dangling around that had ripped off the mesh tape. So you can see I'm just going over all of the area, just making sure that I'm smoothing everything out. Like I said, the thinner that you can get this coat, the better off that you'll be in terms of sanding and with the second coat and the third coat and so forth. But that's basically it. It's actually a really simple process. This video is at 2 times the regular speed on a side note. That's why it looks like I'm moving really quickly, just to save you some time so that you wouldn't have to watch a really long video. But that's basically it. It's a very simple process, and once again, this is just the first coat of mud that I'm applying. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe for more. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.